Hello and welcome to ENI UK and Europe Edition. I'm Giancarlo Matera reporting from London. We bring you news reports from around the United Kingdom and Europe. In today's news roundup, the UK is to send asylum seekers to Rwanda. The WHO on COVID-19 state we are not in an endemic stage. And joining us live today, we have Ariane Celestino. Hello, Ariane. What will you be reporting for us today?
Hi, Giancarlo. Today, I will be reporting about a work scheme that gives refugees in Britain a fresh start. Giancarlo.
Thank you so much, Ariane. We also have more reports from the United Kingdom where amazing in-camera transitions that you can do with your smartphone. That report will be brought to us by Ryan Florentino, Keith Dimabuyu, and JD Season. In Italy, they have approved a digital nomad visa for remote workers. This report will be brought to us by Jasmine Jamora. And in sports news, Manchester City, CEO of Atletico Madrid, in a fiery clash to reach the semi-finals. For our view from our window this week, we go to Schwerin Castle in Germany. Britain will send migrants and asylum seekers who crossed the channel thousands of miles away to Rwanda under a controversial deal announced on Thursday as the government tries to clamp down on record numbers of people making the perilous journey. From today, anyone entering the United Kingdom illegally, as well as those who have arrived illegally since January 1, may now be relocated to Rwanda, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said in a speech near Dover in the southeastern England. Rwanda will have the capacity to resettle tens of thousands of people in the years ahead. He called the African nation one of the safest countries in the world, globally recognized for its record of welcoming and integrating migrants. Boris Johnson was elected partly on promises to curb illegal migration, but has instead seen record numbers making the risky channel crossing. He also announced that Britain's Borders Agency would hand responsibility for patrolling the English Channel for migrant boats to the Royal Navy. The Royal Navy will take over operational command of the border force in the Channel with the aim that no boats make it to the UK undetected. Boris Johnson said, announcing extra funds for boats, aircrafts, and surveillance equipment to help detain people who smuggle at sea. This will send a clear message to those piloting the boats. If you risk other people's lives in the Channel, you risk spending your own life in prison, he said. More than 28,000 people arrived in Britain, having crossed the Channel from France in small boats in 2021. Around 90% of those were male, and 3/4 were men aged between 18 and 39. The Rwanda plan swiftly drew the ire of the opposition politicians who accused Johnson of trying to distract from his being fined for breaking coronavirus lockdown rules, while rights groups slammed the project as inhumane. Ghana and Rwanda had previously been mentioned as possible locations for the UK to outsource the processing of migrants, but Ghana in January denied involvement. Instead, Rwanda on Thursday announced that it had signed a multi-million-dollar deal to do the job during a visit of the British Home Secretary, Priti Patel. Rwanda welcomes this partnership with the United Kingdom to host asylum seekers and migrants and offer them legal pathway to residence in the East African nation. The deal with Rwanda will be funded by the UK to a tune of £120 million, with migrants integrated into the communities across the country. The World Health Organization headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, declared on Thursday that COVID-19 is far from becoming an endemic disease and could still trigger large epidemics across the globe. WHO Agency's Director Michael Ryan said in his statement that the virus was not settling down into any seasonal pattern or transmission pattern and was still quite volatile, still capable of causing huge epidemics. He also highlighted that endemics does not mean it's over, mild or not a problem, adding that it's not at all the case. He also explained that often, once an epidemic disease settles down into an endemic pattern, focusing on a particular section of the population, they could often settle into becoming childhood diseases such as measles or diphtheria. He says if vaccination levels drop, as has happened with measles, epidemics can break out again. The lowest number of COVID-19 deaths was recorded last week since the early days of the pandemic. But with more than 20,000 deaths, Ryan says it was still too many. We should be happy, but we shouldn't be satisfied. Time for a break now, but please come back for some more ENI UK and Europe edition.
Mr. Bawal, ang galing mo namang sumayaw. Pwedeng pa-copy ng dance steps mo?
Oo naman, Mr. Pwede.
Mr. Bawal, ang ganda rin ng forma mo. Pwedeng pa-copy ng forma mo?
Oo ba?
Mr. Bawal, pa-copy naman sagot mo.
Yan ang hindi pwede. Ang pagsilip sa sagot ng iba, lalong-lalo na sa butuan. Oy! Bawal yan!
Ayon sa Omnibus Election Code, ang pagtatangkang silipin at alamin ang boto ng iba ay isang election offense.
Mr. Pwede? Please report to the principal's office.
Ako si Mr. Bawal, nagpapaalala sa inyo na ang pagsilip sa boto ng ibang botante. Oy! Bawal yan!
A public service message of Net25 for Mata ng Halalan 2022. Matatag, matapang, matapat.
As the crisis-stricken world transitions, business leaders are now faced with threats of digital disruption. What choices could be made? What strategies should be implemented? How will CEOs reimagine their leadership in the digital age? Join us today at the CEO Summit 2022 as we feature remarkable executives and get inspired by their unique experiences and ideas on how businesses can manage the next normal and adapt to the fourth industrial revolution.
This feels like the exit gate. Finally, it feels like, okay, this is probably going to be the normal.
I call it empowering the SMEs. It's beyond a financial literacy. It's actually a business management program for all the SMEs.
All these in this episode of Open for Business.
Welcome back to ENI UK and Europe edition. Now for some more interesting stories from around the United Kingdom and Europe this week. For news on a baking charity Breadwinners helping refugees join the UK workforce, here's Ariane Celestino.
Hi, Giancarlo. Yes, in Britain, an asylum seeker who is allowed to remain permanently in the country obtains refugee status, in turn enabling them to gain paid work. At the end of September, Britain had nearly 84,000 outstanding cases for refugee status, up 41% year-on-year, the latest official data showed. Founded in 2016, UK charity Breadwinner has trained more than 150 refugees and asylum seekers to manage its bread stores at markets in London and Brighton. Refugees from Eritrea and Nigeria working at a store in Greenwich say the experience has improved their confidence when engaging with other people and that it will help them forge a career in the UK. The charity says it would love to employ newly arrived refugees from Ukraine if the opportunity arises. Let's hear more from the Breadwinner program manager herself and a Nigerian refugee who is benefiting from the program.
So our founder Marika, along with John Lister, who owns Shipton Mill, saw a real gap in the services and support that was offered to refugees and asylum seekers here in the UK. So together they thought that bread could be a real force for good, and they started Breadwinners. Our model is really simple and our motto is fresh bread, fresh start. So 95% of our program participants progress into jobs or higher education, and it's all sorts of things really, from tech to healthcare to working in cafes and bakeries to studying at university.
Yeah, it really helps me in my people's skills, because I used to be someone that's very closed up and I don't talk to people at all, but now I know how to smile and talk to people and stuff like that, so it really helps me in that aspect.
Some sectors in the UK, notably hospitality and logistics, are struggling to fill vacancies following Brexit and after people switched jobs during the pandemic. Official data showed record overall vacancies in Britain, while wages are being eroded by the highest UK inflation in decades. Breadwinners' own programs help asylum seekers and refugees to polish their English and to prepare for job interviews. Refugees can also get their first paid job with Breadwinners, awaiting employment elsewhere. That's all from me. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you, Erin. It's okay if we ask a question here. In general, how supportive are the UK organizations for the refugees that are coming here, including those Ukrainians who fled their country since the start of the war?
Well, Giancarlo, some major UK employers have publicly said they are willing to take on Ukrainians fleeing their country, including food to clothing retail, Marks and Spencer, supermarket Aldi, mobile phone group Vodafone, and accountants PwC. Bread and Roses, an NGO helping women refugees become florists, said he had noticed a difference in how the West had welcomed Ukrainians compared with other nationalities fleeing their homes, including Syria, and has called for equal treatment. That will be everything from me. Over to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you for joining us today, Arian.
Reporting from the United Kingdom, I am Arian Celestino. We live in interesting times.
Okay, let's now learn an easy trick for how to create fun in-camera transitions with our smartphones. This report is brought to us by Ryan Florentino, Keith Dimabuyu, and Jericho Caesar. Let's watch.
Hey, do you want to make cool cinematic transitions like these? And if you stay to the end of this video, you will learn how to make professional video clips using only your mobile phone. My name is Ryan Florentino.
My name is Keith Dimabuyu. And my name is JD Cecil.
And we will be teaching you 3 easy in-camera transitions you can use on your mobile phone. Let's get started. All right, everyone, so for our first transition, we're gonna be doing the side swipe transition. Now this one's really cool and is extremely easy. So let's see how it's done. So to do this transition, we're going to begin with our first scene. We're gonna point our device at our scene. And when we're ready to transition, we're going to simply swipe. So on a very important note, in between the transition, while you're swiping, make sure you press pause or you cut the clip in between each scene. So to get that transition of you swiping from left to right, up to down, or right to left, in any direction you like. So let's move on to our next transition.
Thanks, Ryan. And now we move on to the lens cover transition. And for this, you'll need an object. This could either be your hand, a wall, or even an object that you have, and you will have to place it in front of your camera. So let's get on to it. Then you pause. Then now, as I did, I'm in a different spot now. Then you unpause, then you show where you are right now. So I think it's a pretty cool transition. And how great is this? Now you have two very cool but very simple also transitions. Now let's move on to our next transition. What do you have for us, JD?
Thanks, Keith. We'll now be going to our third and final transition. In a 1, 2, 3. See what I did there? This is what you call a snap and clap transition, and I'll show you how to make it. In our first transition scene, we would simply snap or clap our hands. Pause, then move to the next scene, where we would begin to snap and clap our hands. In between both clips, you can now cut the video at the sound of the snap or clap. There you have it. You can now use this transition whenever you want. 3 easy in-camera transitions
using only your mobile phone. Once again, I'm Ryan Florentino with the team, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Ryan, Keith, and JD for those great tips. It's time for another break now, but please come back for some more ENI UK and Europe edition.
It's summertime, mga kaagapay! Patindi na rin ang init. Kaya naman dito sa Unlad, pag-uusapan natin ang mga summer business na hit na hit.
Nag-start ako sa kombucha na home-based business lang. Malaking bagay na sa pamilya namin, especially this time pandemic, na nakakadagdag sa aming pinagkakakitaan.
Gulaman is a staple in the Philippines. A lot of people loves gulaman. Na-introduce to sa market, it was really a very good hit.
Ang product namin is complementary to them. Imbes na mag-soft drinks ka doon, inom ka na lang ng juice namin.
Tara na at siguradong mapapawaw ka sa success stories ng mga kaagapay nating humahakaw sa mga negosyong pamatid-uhaw. Ako po si Mariel Rodriguez Padilla at ito po ang Unlad Kaagapay sa Hanap Buhay!
Ano ang pinakamalaking mammal? Blue whale. So, sinasagot ko lang kasi alam po hindi mo alam.
Boyfriend ko nga po pala, si Jeffoy. May maayos ka bang trabaho?
Nag-aayos po ako ng aircon.
Makakapareha po natin na isang star witness sa isang hold-upan na naganap, si alias Boyet. Paano ka nakarating doon?
Kasi sir...
Christopher!
Ay, teka muna. Sino yun?
Huwag niyo tawagin yung pangalan ko, Nay.
This is Raya Basko. Please catch me on Letters and Music on air and online this Sunday, 1 to 2 p.m. only here on Net 25. See ya!
Doktor na may puso hindi lang sa kanyang mga pasyente, pero extended na rin sa mga magsasaka. Ang kanyang mga naging pagresponde, ating pupusuan. Advocate group na tumutulong sa mga batang may sakit, matatanda at may kapansanan, ating sasaluduhan. Grupo ng mga teachers na ang dala ay degulong na blackboard para sa kanilang mga mahihirap na estudyante at ang kanilang nakaka-good vibes sa advokasya. Inyong abangan! Isang grupong ginagawang kapaki-pakinabang ang mga plastic na basura ating kilalanin. Mapapanood nyo kami sa mga sumusunod na mga channel. Sabado, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi. Ito ang Responde, Mata ng Mamamayan.
Welcome back to ENI UK and Europe edition. Now for some more interesting stories from around the United Kingdom and Europe this week. In Italy, they have approved providing a visa to remote workers or digital nomads. Here's the report prepared by Jasmine Jamora. Let's watch.
Fine details still being worked out for a new visa scheme to allow digital nomads to live and work in Italy. The Italian government has approved a decree that will grant a visa to remote workers or so-called digital nomads from non-EU countries for 1 year.
The scheme, signed into law last week as part of the Sosteniter decree, is designed to cut through red tape and offer 1 year renewable visas to freelancers or employees of companies based outside Italy. The new visa is reportedly aimed at professionals who carry out highly qualified work activities through the use of technological tools that allow them to work remotely, autonomously, or for a company that is not resident in the territory of the Italian state. The visa would allow highly qualified workers to work and reside in Italy, reports Italian business newspaper Il Sole 24 Ore, on condition that they have health insurance and meet a minimum income requirement. The new decree will see digital nomads and remote workers added to a limited number of categories of specialized foreign workers who can be issued with a permit to work in Italy, which currently ranges from university professors and circus workers to sailors and nurses, according to Il Sole 24 Ore. The practicalities of the scheme have yet to be defined, including which categories of professional will qualify. However, full details are expected in the coming months.
The government prepares to invest €1 billion into rolling out high-speed internet in historic ghost towns and villages across Italy as part of plans to revive the local economy and community with an influx of remote workers. Reporting from Milan, Italy, I'm Jasmine Jamora and we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Jasmine, for bringing us that story from Italy. We go to our sports news, and it's Keith Timabuyo again. He gives us the latest in football. Let's listen in.
The Champions League displayed the nit and grit of football as Manchester City secured the goalless draw they needed to edge out Atletico Madrid and advance to the Champions League semi-finals on Wednesday, but the match was marred by a massive brawl late in the game that continued to rage in the tunnel after full time. In the end, Kevin De Bruyne's first leg strike last week at the Etihad Stadium proved enough for City to claim a 1-0 victory on aggregate in Madrid, although the Belgian had to go off with an injury, which, if significant, could be a hammer blow to their hopes of winning the treble. Kyle Walker was also hobbled off in the second half. City will now face Real Madrid, with Liverpool up against Villarreal in the other semi-final to complete an all-English Spanish lineup in the last four. Simeone was widely criticized for Atletico's negative tactics in the first leg, and there was only a minor shift here, with the plan still to keep the game tight ahead of a final push. If we play like we did in the second half, we have no chance, said Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola. We are playing Real Madrid, the kings of this competition. We will have to suffer. Reporting for Sport, for ENI, from the UK, I am Keith Timabuyu, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you for the football update, Keith. For our view from our window this week, we take you to the castle in Germany. The Schwerin Castle is located on the island in the middle of the city. It was built between 1847 and 1857 by Grand Duke Friedrich Franz II and functioned as his residence since then. After the reign of the monarchs ended in 1918, this castle became state-owned. It has been used for different purposes, such as schools for nursery school teachers, a hospital and a museum. After the German reunification, the castle became the seat of the State of Parliament. Another part of it became an open museum for the castle. Today's view is courtesy of Elta Paras. Thank you for this wonderful view, Elta. And that's it for today's program. We hope you stay safe and keep positive as we bring you more stories next week from around the United Kingdom and Europe. I'm Giancarlo Matera from the United Kingdom, and we live in interesting times.